news headlines this week. Barghouti and Corbyn slam Trump's 20-point peace plan. Human Rights Commission concerned with child malnutrition in the Eastern Cape. Wild Coast communities defend against oil giant Shell in the Constitutional Court. Good day, I'm Elona Sebunzi. Palestinian physician, activist and politician Dr. Mustafa Barghouti has criticized Trump's 20-point plan to bring peace in Gaza as a farce in that it favors Israel. Barghouti was speaking at a press briefing at the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation in Cape Town on Tuesday. On Monday, the presidents of the United States of America and Israel, during a joint press conference, presented a peace plan that they hailed as a historic breakthrough and a new chapter for the Middle East. Barghouti said that the plan ignores the root causes of the problem and that the plan is biased in favor of Israel.
The problem is that what was presented to the Palestinian side was not presented as a plan to be negotiated, but as an ultimatum. But the problem with this plan, that it ignored completely the root causes of the problem. The root causes of what led to the 7th of October. The root causes that led to this war. And that is in particular the Israeli military occupation, the system of Israeli apartheid, which has become much worse than the apartheid system that prevailed in South Africa. And it has ignored the right of self-determination of the Palestinian people to be implemented immediately. If we speak about peace, the assumption is that there will be no war and people will have their rights. But what we see here is a recipe that is very dangerous, that ignored the root causes.
Meanwhile, former leader of the British Labour Party and activist Jeremy Corbyn, who is visiting South Africa and Namibia, said that the countries that are proposing a two-state solution should listen to what the Palestinians are saying instead of imposing their views.
All those that opine on what the future structure, organisation and delineation, etc. of Palestine should be in the future should take a week off and read Edward Said on Orientalism. Edward Said analysed this whole process very, very well and very, very effectively. The mentality, the intellectual mentality, which pervades a great deal of university thinking all around the world, that somehow or other there is a European intellectual supremacy over everybody else.
The South African Human Rights Commission says it is gravely concerned that in the absence of urgent and coordinated action, children in the Eastern Cape and across South Africa will continue to die from preventable malnutrition and hunger. Recently, the Commission held hearings into the matter where it invited the Eastern Cape government and some departments to explain why there has been lack of progress in implementing its recommendations to reduce child malnutrition and poverty. In November 2023, during the tabling of the report, the Commission found that between April 2021 and March 2022, 116 children died of severe acute malnutrition in the Eastern Cape, and they gave the national and provincial government departments 3 to 6 months to submit reports outlining their efforts to address child malnutrition in the province. Daluwonga Mahlanza is from the South African Human Rights Commission.
The findings basically where there were recommendations that the Human Rights Commission after that malnutrition report. So these recommendations were not really been implemented since. That is why we from the South African Human Rights Commission felt it proper that we must call these key departments in order to check as to how far these departments have complied with the recommendations that were in the malnutrition report of 2022-2023. So that is the rationale behind the recent subpoena that we held, I think 3 weeks ago.
On the 16th and 17th of September 2025, the Constitutional Court of South Africa sat to hear arguments in what many are calling a landmark environmental and constitutional case, the Wild Coast Communities and Environmental Organizations versus Shell. The oil giant Shell is fighting for the rights to drill for oil on the sensitive Wild Coast seabed, which residents living on that side of the Eastern Cape say poses a serious threat to the environment, the economy and their livelihoods. Parallel to the courtroom proceedings, a march and demonstration unfolded outside the court led by community organizations including Coastal Links, the Amadiba Crisis Committee, Sustaining the Wild Coast and allied solidarity groups. Around 200 activists carried banners and place cards reading, "We cannot eat oil and gas, to hell with Shell," and other slogans, demanding the right of coastal communities to say no to destructive development.
For the right to say no, the court case outcome is very much important in that it will protect the community's rights to say no. Remember, if everything is confined to the word consultation, that is not enough because the processes of consultation are always dominated and influenced by the interest of the big transnational corporations in South Africa, and therefore not even giving a chance to communities for what we might call a free, prior, informed consent. The processes are just right. So the court to expand on its ruling to accommodate or to include the right to say no.
That's all we have for you now. We will bring you more social justice news next week.